What's up, everybody? It's episode 38 of Beers in the Lot. I know I say this every time, but this episode was so much fun to record. I know you're going to have a good time listening to us talk about a story from the lot where we recall the events surrounding a burn barrel incident. We talked about a Department of Player Safety incident that occurred this week. Guess who? And a conspiracy theory tied to that incident. I just got finished editing that part, and I am still cracking up. We had some really great energy in this episode. Let's get to it. All right. Let's do beers.
Yeah.
Let's do beers.
Beers.
Yeah. That doesn't count, John.
Yeah.
What was that? What were you shaking around?
This is a little bit of Knob Creek 100 proof small batch.
So we're doing liquor in the lot tonight.
Yeah, rough week. No,
it's only Tuesday.
It's Tuesday. No, I'm actually half upset at myself because I realized it today, and you would think I would have been more in tune. I have one more of the beer I had last week, which I won't name, but yeah, we'll give it away. It's the Mandalorian style beer. I should have had it today since today's Star Wars Day, and I just totally couldn't get on my schedule. So I'm so upset. I'm gonna have some bourbon instead. So yeah. What are you drinking, Aaron?
I have got a Kolsch Shoulder from Oliver Brewing Company. I've always liked Kolsch's. This one's pretty good. I like it.
Nice.
How about you, Eric? What you got?
I have Flying Dog's Raging Bitch Belgian style IPA.
Nice.
What
Our friends at Flying Dog.
What does Daniel have?
Another Treehouse beer. Weird.
Yay.
How do you know?
It's Brighter Than Starlight double IPA. Of course.
Show me
it's
this
on
can
point.
again.
It's so
Show
good.
me this can again. Caw-caw! There's like a falcon on it.
Yeah, Daniel's a falconeer.
Falconeer, yes.
He's got that big padded glove on.
Yeah, I need those gloves that you guys had back when it gets like really cold.
Oh,
Yeah. The
my
parking
God.
lot gloves.
Yeah.
Eric and I got a pair, and I think a few others. So what Daniel's talking about, we had a gentleman who was in the Air Force. He was able to secure us some winter gloves that they use in the services
In the Arctic.
in the Arctic, essentially,
Ooh.
like in colder areas. My uncle was stationed in Alaska, so I'm sure they use something like that. There are other places, obviously, but they're really warm. And the kind of the wrist area up to your fingertips, it has a really nice kind of felt winter type material. And then on the hand side of it, it's all leather, so you can still grip stuff. And I think, Eric, you got like the actual finger gloves, right? Like yours are actual fingers.
The one he gave me, no, it only has one finger.
You have the trigger finger, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the straight.
Badass.
I got the straight mitten. Like I'm like the little kid. Like I have mittens. So like, but it was funny because when he gave them to everybody, like quite a few guys, we all made the joke immediately. Not that, oh, thanks for the winter glove. We all started acting like we're falconeers. Hold your arm in the air, like. Ah! Actually, I'll get a picture. I'll put that up on Twitter. That'll be hilarious. Just gonna show the
Falconry gloves.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
You know, actually talking about the gloves, we should actually tell some stories about the burn barrel.
Oh God.
Oh,
We could
dude.
probably do burn barrel stories, though. We got plenty.
Oodles.
The best was the I wasn't there at the time, but I think you guys were like on the ice or something.
Well, okay.
Somebody else lit it.
Yeah. So the backstory is that.
Should we tell all the story? Like I don't think we want to incriminate.
Well, no, I'm just gonna give the
Okay.
It's over.
Alright.
We don't have a burn barrel anymore. It's not
5
like we
cent
can get in
version.
trouble.
Right. It
Okay.
doesn't matter. What are we gonna get in trouble for
Yeah,
now?
right.
Oh yeah, we don't even.
There's
block
no
it.
tree to burn down.
There's There's also no OFBG.
so
Not yet.
Sunday Night League, Old Fat Ball Guys OFBG, which Daniel just mentioned. We in the winter months would have a burn barrel because we like to stand outside in the lot and drink beers after hockey, and sometimes it's cold in the winter, so we have a burn barrel. However, we would have it in a corner of the parking lot that was near a tree, and by near I mean the tree was like 20 feet away.
Yeah.
And we had the burn
It
barrel.
was in the same zip code.
It was in the grid. It was in the grid. How about that?
We had the
Even in-
burn barrel
Yeah.
on. We always had it on bricks, like on the asphalt, right in the parking lot. So
Yeah, because
like,
we're not
the fire-
total degenerates.
right?
Yeah.
Because we're
We're not trying to
responsible-
ruin stuff. Yeah.
We're responsible adults. Like, come on, we're drinking beers in a parking lot around a burn barrel. So
This is the hallmarks of responsible adults.
So the rink wasn't really thrilled with us doing this, and they cited the fire danger of the tree that was near the burn barrel. So they told us, they told the league, no more burn barrels. So I think that lasted like a week, and then I show up to play one Sunday, and there's already a burn barrel on fire, and we haven't even played any games yet. And it looked like the fire was started with maybe some motor oil or diesel fuel, because there was a lot of black smoke
A
coming
very
out of
thick
it.
accelerant.
I think somebody said that it looked like
Kuwait.
Kuwait
Oh, man.
when they
I remember that's
when
what I heard.
when Saddam Hussein set the oil fields on fire or whatever. So, okay. So, all right, the burn barrel's already going. It's not going anywhere. Everything's fine. So we all go inside. We start playing the games. And typically,
I think it's worth mentioning that it was actually kind of late. Like most of the people had gotten onto the ice and had gotten inside and didn't ever see the burn barrel even started. Like half of the people who were playing that night didn't even see it. So
I don't think anybody knew.
No, none of the guys, the guys that run the league didn't know. The guys that the rink told don't bring burn barrels anymore didn't know, right?
yeah, right.
But the person that brings the burn barrels brought
He
one
was
anyway.
not informed.
Well, they knew, but they brought one anyway, right? Okay. So then we go on the ice, and two of the guys that run the league, right, are in that game because they're captains, and right, the four guys that run the league are the captains. So two guys are there.
Some of them like to put themselves at center all the time too.
The rink, nobody cares. The rink person opened the rink door, or one of the rink
Door
doors
to the ice
during play, and called the official over. We only have one official in OFBG because everybody supposedly is cool. And he blows the play down. He goes over, what's the deal? What's wrong? And the person says they need to get rid of their burn barrel. They're not supposed to have a burn barrel. And so the two guys, the two captains, the guys that run the league, go over and they go, "It's not our burn barrel." And the person that from the rink says, "It is." Whatever. Okay, we finished the game. Get showered up, get cleaned up, go outside. I'm walking out. Burn barrel's still on fire. There's some guys already out there hanging out. Walk up to the burn barrel and cut into the side of it with a torch or something.
and it's just glowing bright
Is-
orange.
Is the acronym OFBG. So it was
It
definitely
was absolutely our burn barrel.
our burn barrel. And we enjoyed it that night.
Oh yeah.
So,
I missed that burn barrel
Yeah.
on those
On a
cold
cold
nights.
night,
Oh
yeah.
man, I miss those.
Burn barrels are nice.
Rest in peace, burn
especially
barrel.
since we've been dressing outside.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
Anyway, burn barrel.
I digress. R.I.P. burn barrel.
It's kind of funny on our group text every week. we always have a thread of like ideas that we talk about. In the last couple of weeks
on Discord.
on Discord,
On Discord.
on Discord, we have a private channel that we essentially use for our ideas for the podcast and whatnot. And I made this joke a while ago about how everyone's going to be vaccinated and stuff, and it's just going to be this awesome summer where everyone's going to rage. And I made the joke like #summer of violence, like as a joke that I just haven't done anything with. Like it was a joke on our group thread. We all loved it. Well,
already happening.
Tying into the NHL, the summer of violence started last night with Tom Wilson. He got after it. By that I mean
I don't want to talk about Tom Wilson. I don't want to talk about him.
No, dude, let's talk about everybody else.
Right,
you,
we
Aaron.
have to.
Well, I think it. I mean, I said it. Like I'm a little upset for him that he's wearing that $100 War Road and the elbow stay is definitely
That's a crime
because his elbow pads were like down by his wrist. I would maybe say something to whoever supplied him with that shirt. I mean, it's $100. That's not. I mean, I know the NHL fined him $5,000, but that's a fine. Like, we'll get over that. Like, he spent $100 of his hard-earned money on apparel. Like, it's not even doing the job. I'd be really upset. How's he supposed to be How's he supposed to be flexing at the Rangers bench with his elbow pads on his wrist? It looks like a goof. Like, geez, poor Tom Wilson. I feel so upset.
He looked like he was carrying 2 15-gallon buckets of water up a hill when he was doing that. Like that was the first thing I thought of. I was like, look at this guy.
He had a goofy fucking face, didn't he?
Well, because Bushnevich was still like chirping at him or whatever. So like, yeah, so they were just going back and forth or whatever. I mean, we've talked about that before. Like, there needs to be more of that. Like, anyway.
The thing too about that whole incident, and I hate like I'm not going to get into whether it was suspension or not because like it's not even worth our time. I actually didn't think the Panarin thing was as bad as everyone was kind of making it, because that type of play happens 100 times a game where two guys wrestle and one throws, like that to me just looked like Tom Wilson is much stronger than Artemi Panarin. Wrestled into the ice.
He's like 50 pounds on him.
So
exactly. He's way stronger than him.
Like I know you don't want to talk. I know you don't want to talk about the DOPS thing, but what you just said is exactly how they ruled it. Right?
Exactly.
It's that
a hockey play.
It's that the punch on Bushnevich when he's down is definitely egregious and needs supplemental discipline. And they could only, by rule, they even say by rule they can only do 5,000. Should he morally or whatever, ethically, whatever word you want to use, get games for that? Absolutely. Like, players can't be taking liberties when they're on top of other players and they're in compromised positions. That can't be happening. But then everything that happens after that, I think the league considered just part of the scrum. Like, guys were engaging each other. Strome comes over and engages. Dowd comes over and engages. Then Wilson gets free. Then Panarin engages him. And then all this shitstorm happens, right? Is it bad? Yeah, it's real bad. If you want to get it out of the game, like, it's not about a single player or even like a few players in the league. It's about the whole way that the game is played right now, which is after whistles around the net, when stuff like that happens, guys get thrown around. Like, this is what goes on. So,
I'm glad you kind of touched on that too. Like, it was more about the guy Bushnevich in the compromised position, getting punched in the face while he was pinned to the ice. The other stuff after that, I had no problem with. I was like, yeah,
now
that's
normal.
I
will say this. Let me say this though, that Panarin getting thrown to the ice with no helmet on, that's dangerous. I mean, it's head on the ice. That's dangerous.
That's dangerous as fuck, man. Yeah.
But what do you do to? That's not. That happens all the time. And if he has a helmet on, it's totally different. It's not totally different, but it's different.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah.
Here's the thing about that is, like, there's all these media people that are like trying to be on the right side of the story now, right? Especially since the Rangers put out their statement or whatever. And they're saying, like, as soon as Panarin's helmet comes off, then everything should be shut down. Like everybody, should stop or do whatever. Like that's not what happens.
That's not going to happen.
And it's never happened. And it's never going to
happen.
Oh,
my helmet fell off because she can't do anything.
No.
Like that's what would start happening if they started making rules like that.
What happened? What happened tonight? What happened tonight? There was a perfect situation. It wasn't an analogous situation, but it's.
Well, yeah, and
it was very similar.
It's a situation where a player's helmet came off and they still engaged.
Yeah, they were both wrestling.
And put another player into a compromising position, right?
That was at Sid and Konechny, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And what did I say on our thread to that? Suspend them both.
Suspend them both.
Out of the game. Horrible.
But you can't, John. But you can't. That's a fine because that was just fined last night. So it's got to be a fine tonight.
It's just a fine. It was roughing. Max fine is $5,000. Sorry.
You just picture them opening up their wallet and like, all right, here.
I know. There's a lot of NHL like fans, and I even think media to some extent. They're like, this is the same stuff that Raffi Torres did, yada yada. Like, no, Raffi Torres was physically jumping into guys' heads when he got suspended and everything. And the other thing too, like about the Tom Wilson, like they keep saying he's a repeat offender. He's a repeat offender. Okay, sure, I get that, but every instance is judged differently based on the way it was called on the ice, the rule book, and also in the context of the game. So just because Tom Wilson, I mean, Tom Wilson could have, actually done something after, Panarin landed on the ice and, could have clocked him or whatever, and he didn't, thank God. But, someone could have been, he did it twice in the same game. It's like, well, yeah, but it's like, this is a one-off incident. Yes, Tom Wilson is involved, but in the grand scheme of things, every instance is judged differently.
We were talking earlier tonight too, on the Discord, on the private side of it.
Here's.com/Discord.
About how like through the work stoppages and the CBA changes and everything, like a lot of these rules are defined, right? And so when Department of Player Safety, which that's not the right term for that department, it should be called something else because they're doing anything but player safety. But anyway,
Department of Supplemental Discipline or whatever.
Right. But anyway, like
timeouts
when they're looking at these things, right? And then they make the ruling. Look how they write the words, right? The way that they write the words is for this incident, like the supplemental discipline for the roughing is a max fine of $5,000. So that's what we're giving, because that's what was pre-negotiated by the league and the union and everyone
Tom
involved,
Wilson,
right?
And the Caps.
Oh, yeah. Oh, by the way, he's the player rep.
He's the player rep
for the union for the Washington Capitals, and the alternate's Lars Eller. But anyway.
And I want to touch on this too, because a lot of people are giving George Peros, like so many people are bagging George Peros. I don't think anyone understands how difficult that job is, because George Peros has to subtract everything out, and he's played somewhat recently. He's been retired and whatnot.
All right.
I'm willing to bet he is not the only one making that decision.
No, he's not.
There is no way. So the fact that everyone's just bagging on him when they're like, he was an enforcer, he's looking out for people. He suspended Andrew Cogliano last year.
He's not the only one there making the decision. He answers to the hockey ops dudes, right? And then he has like a team, and he actually joined Department of Player Safety as part of that team before he got the head job.
Exactly.
He was under Stefan Quintel, who succeeded Brendan Shanahan.
Shanahan.
Right? And the history here is important too, because if you really want to fix the problem, you really want to fix it, you got to go back to Shanahan days. And the reason why he was put in that position was supposedly he was going to, put in harsher sentences for these type of things going on, and he was going to clean up the game. And supposedly that was at the request of a certain owner of a certain NHL franchise,
which I have my own issue with, and I have said this 100 times. the fact that Mario did that when Matt Cook was still on our
Matt
payroll
Cook on the payroll
is a joke.
So
embarrassing.
But what happened is Shanahan became Shanaban, right? You guys just said it.
Yeah.
And that's when the videos started and the lengthy explanations and all this stuff. And many GMs around the league, the story is many GMs around the league said the punishments are too harsh. We have guys that are sitting out too many games. They're losing too much money. We can't do this anymore. And then Shanahan leaves, Quintel gets elevated, and then a couple years later, after Peros had retired and started the Violent Gentleman clothing brand, which John and I are big fans of, and that's why I'm wearing this shirt tonight.
That's an awesome shirt.
I'm wearing this shirt tonight for that reason.
Yeah.
He gets the job.
Real quick. Be sure that you check out the social media and see the shirt. It's a great shirt. And it's 100% applicable.
Well, actually, I don't care. Eric and I joke all the time. I will give them free ads all day. I love everything they come out with.
Well, I love their stuff,
designs.
right? Their stuff's quality and their designs are awesome. Like the designs are sick.
It's a 10-year anniversary.
But he started a brand based off of his reputation. Then he gets the gig to run DOPS later on, and some of the first things he says when he gets that job is, I understand I have that reputation, but I think that puts me in the best position to make these decisions because I understand the line. Does he? Right? And so then when you read, going back to the Rangers statement and everybody wanting to be on the right side of that, when you read that thing, the end of it is what's important. When they say that, Department of Player Safety is not doing the right things, and George Peros probably, as the figurehead, probably, right, he needs to be looked at and maybe some changes need to be made, and that's what people should be mad about. Like, that's I don't know, man. It just, the whole situation is like,
no, they should be mad about that. That's not something you say in a press release. You say that your GM says that at the board of director, at the board meeting or whatever. Like, that's what you say, or that's where that has a place.
I guess
that's the place for that sort of thing.
I think they're right.
If you want to air that grievance.
No, I think they're right. I think they're right in saying that Department of Player Safety, first of all, again, that is the wrong name for that department because they're doing anything but protecting players and thinking about their safety. Just look at what happened the last 24 hours. And the shit rolls downhill, right? So the person at the top has to be looked at. And unfortunately, that's George Peros, whether you like the guy or not.
Well, I think
he's in that position
because he's the head, but there are also others making the decision. So I'm sure
but
there's other stuff.
But you're telling me that the VP/director or whatever his title is in charge of that isn't in charge of the hiring decisions and who is part of that group or whatever. Like, come on. Like even though he may have been put there because he had a reputation as a figurehead, he's still part of the organization. He still has a job. And if his only job is to get fired once everybody gets fed up with what's going on, then like,
you're saying he's doing a good job then.
That's it. Like,
all right.
That's it.
So you had talked about like Shanahan was brought in to kind of clean everything up and help with player safety. I think he actually did that. If you look kind of at the suspensions lately, like, you don't see a lot of headshot suspensions anymore. I think that's what they were targeting back when Shanahan was put in that position.
Right, but he
we're talking about you, Scott Stevens.
But this but
Eric actually mentioned that Shanahan was giving out suspensions that the owners of the league and the players and possibly even fans were saying, "Hey, these are too much." But damn it stopped. Like,
I feel like it worked.
It stopped.
Yeah,
but we still have like these.
You have a one-off.
The headshots, though.
I feel like you don't see it as much.
And you still see stuff where, like,
Well, for example, Connor McDavid did elbow. I forget who on
There's
Montreal.
still like
week.
this really bad stuff
It was a
happening.
blatant elbow. I mean, not. And granted, like, do
well,
I want to see
George
Connor?
Paris is in there now.
Do
He's
I
only
want to
giving out
see?
fines?
Well, do I want to see, like, for example, do I want to see Connor McDavid suspended? No, I want to see him get 100 points this year. He needs to get 100 points.
I want to see him do it without elbowing people, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
But see, the
there's
media.
It's got to be the same.
About
it has to be the same
there's
for
no
everybody.
about it.
Hold on,
It has to be the same.
It has to be the same, but how come when Connor McDavid did it the other week and I sent that image, I was like, oh snap, look at Connor, he's going off the rails, like jokingly. Everyone in the media was like, well, he has to protect himself. This is crazy. You know, people are taking liberty of him. What beer is that?
Daniel just held up. He just held up a
Hang on.
can.
Let me get it. Hold it up. Let me get a screenshot.
He just held up a can that says O'Connor.
El Guapo.
El Guapo.
So Connor McDavid was El Guapo.
El Guapo.
He was like, I'm going to protect myself.
Wrong move. No one does that too. El Guapo.
That was his alter ego.
How many people are running around after that? Like, Connor has to protect himself, blah, blah, blah. And even like people in the media were like, hey, it's fine. Like, well, he elbowed a guy in the jaw. Like
the other night in Colorado game when Gerard went back and he got hit by LeBlanc.
That's right. Yeah.
And Big Mac, Thick Boy Hockey, Nathan
That's
McKinnon
right.
came over and grabbed him and it went toe to toe, right? And like whatever, like
went to work.
Everybody was like, yes,
yeah,
yes, right? Now, of course, that is not the same as laying on top of a dude and punching him, right?
Correct.
That is not the same. That is not the same. But there is still that element in the game of, protecting yourself, protecting other players. There's still going to be that certain level of like violence.
Yeah.
No,
it's needed. It's needed. If not, people are, you're going to get somebody who's like, well, I'm just going to take this guy out and then he's going to end the guy's career. Like, you got to have that release of tension.
And the other thing too, like now that you mentioned kind of the release of tension, like, I don't care what anyone says, whether you're a casual hockey fan or like kind of deep in it, like we are, whether we play, we've been around it. There is an element of violence in the game. Say whatever you want. I'm not saying Hanson,
of course,
Hanson brother level violence. I'm not talking about that.
No, but part of the game is to hit people.
Part of the game is to separate.
That's clean. That's legal.
The person from the puck. Sometimes you have to do it a little more forcefully than others, and that's why we like watching big, like clean hit videos, and like I like seeing a good hip check here and there. It's kind of out of the game just due to the speed and the timing, but like when someone
Darius Kasparaitis.
Darius Kasparaitis, Scott Stevens elbowed people in the head and he was praised and got a Hall of Fame career for some reason. I'll say I don't care that he was a headshot artist. If you look at a good chunk of his hits, he's clearly being a predator. Sorry. Go ahead. I know the chairman of the board. I don't care. It's Lanny. Lanny didn't do that shit. But that's what I'm saying. Like, there are people that praise Scott Stevens for years and years, like, oh, he's so great. That hit on Paul Kariya, granted, it did produce one of the greatest calls in the history of the NHL. But Gary Thorne.
Thank you, Gary Thorne.
Thank you, Gary Thorne. Please come back. Please
come back, Gary.
Please come back.
Please come back with the
baby. Come back.
Gary.
Yeah, baby, come back. Yeah. I mean, and I'm also gonna say this as a baseball fan. The fact that he's doing baseball, I'm happy for him. The fact he's doing O's baseball, the only step down would be Pirates baseball, and that's coming from a Pirates fan. Like,
Is he even still doing Baltimore?
Not this year.
He stepped away.
He actually stepped away from
Baltimore this year.
So maybe
get ready for ESPN.
To get ready for ESPN.
He has to get those pipes ready.
We're on to something, boys.
He has to get those pipes ready. But
if there is news this week that Gary Thorne is confirmed back to ESPN, then we have to launch the whole. We'll talk about.
We should just launch. I mean, we should just
let's
launch
go.
it.
Yeah.
We
must be in the Illuminati or something. Every time we talk about something on this podcast, it seems like in the next week or so, something shows up in the news for that particular person or something. It happens almost every single episode, and we're starting to keep track of it now.
What happened last week?
Last
week we were talking shit about the Flyers, and then we were
Carter Hart.
We were like, what the fuck happened to Carter Hart? And then
the next day he gets injured and he's out for the season. Like, that's what happened to him.
Well, that kind of sounds bad because it sounds like we talked about him and then he got hurt.
Yeah.
It was a nagging injury, wasn't it?
There's no voodoo.
He was already hurt, apparently.
Yeah.
And then they shut him down because
wink, wink,
they're
nod,
out
nod.
of the playoffs, right?
Yeah. He was hot.
Which, by the way, that's probably what happened to Panarin. They probably shut him down. They probably shut him. They probably
missed
shut him
Monday
down.
morning skate. He missed Monday morning skate.
I know.
Because of an injury.
He didn't skate in the morning, and then he was hurt.
Well,
and
Eric,
now he's out for the rest of the season.
Eric tuned me on to this conspiracy theory about
because they're not going to make the
Oh
playoffs
my God!
anyways.
Do not repeat it,
John.
Do not repeat it, John. Only if you're going to make fun of the person that originally put it out. Only if you're going to make fun of them.
I'll totally make fun of anybody that no one is off bounds
because it is absolutely craziness.
Asinine, yeah.
It's asinine.
It's the most. I got to get another.
Bizarre.
Beer.
Find it really quick so we can say it correctly. I just want to make sure. Also, shout out to my boy Matt Barnaby with some awesome tweets. Tom Wilson was fearing for his life. Stuff like that.
He was acting in self-defense, right?
Yeah.
I love Matt Barnaby.
Don't read it. Get back.
That's my boy. Hold on, I'm trying to pull it up.
Wait, I got to say something else about the whole Illuminati prediction stuff.
Our clairvoyance.
Yeah. I guess we just got to talk about, financial success and getting 1 million listens every episode. Yep. So we just need to mention these things just in case it's real and these things happen. So, all right, it's done. All right.
And recording on a yacht.
Yeah, recording on a boat. Yeah, we really just, I just really want to record on a boat.
Being flown around in a Black Hawk helicopter that we buy used off of the internet.
Exactly.
And
be the beers on the lot, Black Hawk. Yeah, for the top tier of Patreon, if you donate $1 million, then you get a beers of the lot Black Hawk.
6.2 million.
$6.2 million. You get a beers on the lot Black Hawk.
Or if you give us $1 million in any crypto, we only take top 4. So that's Dodge or Dogecoin, Doja Cat,
Ethereum,
coin. Yeah, Ethereum, Bitcoin,
and Binance Coin.
And Binance Coin.
Yeah,
we'll take those. So, gentlemen on Twitter at Slava Malamud.
Now,
sorry.
He used to report on the Caps, like back in the day. I don't know what his status is in the media now, but most people that were in the sort of Caps like Twitterverse and all that stuff stopped following him because he says things like what you're about to read.
Yeah. So I will be the first one to admit I read it and immediately started busting out laughing. Which
oh, by the way, and I'm gonna steal your thunder again.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have been laughing hysterically all day from all of the reactions of people on Twitter and Instagram and all over the place about what happened with Tom Wilson and Buchnevich and Panarin. Because
exactly. Yeah. It's just
a lot of people are way over the top one way or the other. Right. And in the truth is somewhere in between, right? Like that's a cliche.
Yeah, it's in the middle, but it is right? on this.
Everybody is just like way over the top one way or the other. And really, like, again, like the punch on Buchnevich when he's down, that is really bad. And it should be more than $5,000 fine, but it isn't because that's the rule. right? That's the law, right? If this was court.
And the thing on Panarin is nothing.
That's a non.
Yeah, just that to me is
a non-factor.
That to me is a non-starter.
It sucks that he got injured or re-injured or whatever the story is in that moment. But
yeah, absolutely.
Like all those guys were engaging each other. Something was going to happen. Shit was going on. And again, there's a certain level of violence, right?
Yeah.
And
well, Taylor Hall a few years ago injured his ankle when he was in Edmonton because he jumped in to help Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, got in a tussle, was tossed to the ice, and his ankle got twisted. And everyone's like, "Oh my God, this is horrible. Why are these people doing it?" And there was a fraction of media, which I was fully on. I'm like, well, Taylor Hall ran into Engage. Like after that, I mean, outside of, someone doing the Happy Gilmore where they take their skate off and try to stab you, like that's it. Like, especially when you engage in something like that, like there could be consequences.
So,
well, you look at it too, like, in football, this happens a lot, like, especially in college, I think, where they're like teams are celebrating a touchdown or whatever. They like dog pile or whatever. People get hurt in those things all the time.
yeah.
All the time. Guys who are doing the same thing, they're all wanting to celebrate. They hurt each other. That stuff happens. I mean, anytime you have large athletic individuals who are strong doing things to other people, like people are going to get hurt. It happens.
Yeah. Big happy humans.
Big happy humans.
All right, let's get back to
Let's
get back to the craziness now.
So I'm going to preface this with saying,
roll the ugliness.
Earlier this year, Artemi Panarin took a leave of absence from the Rangers. You can do your own digging into why. I'm not going to bother bringing
and
it
this is dangerously bordering on breaking our first rule.
No politics.
Which is no politics.
But it's so crazy and so obscure.
Right.
I just couldn't stay away from it because I made the joke several times like, oh, this has legs. We should really dig into this. Oh my God, this guy's a nut job. I mean, he says, if I were a crazy conspiracy theorist, which first of all, if you have to state that in any sentence, you are, I'd say that it's no coincidence that the psychopath Wilson, love how he puts that, who plays on the same team with Putin lover Ovechkin, he has that card, that charge card.
He does.
Him and Gino do, yeah.
Right. They're close with Vladimir Putin, yes.
Yeah. All-star hockey player.
Old Pooty.
Yeah, Pooty.
Pooty.
Yeah, with Putin lover Ovechkin, took out Panarin, the only outspoken anti-Putin Russian athlete. But I'm not crazy, so I will say it because I want to. So notice how he says I'm not crazy twice. But
I have no words.
No,
I have no words.
It's so preposterous.
I have no words.
Laughing about
all right,
but
so what subject are we moving on to next?
Yeah.
What did you say, John? Check his bank account?
Yeah, I made the joke. I was like, check Wilson's bank account.
There's the charge for minus 5,000, and there's one for 50.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Tom Wilson, they're gonna say like, oh, it came over for a European wire transfer for his fine. That's so weird. Tom Wilson's gonna show up tomorrow with like a Bugatti and buy all the team Porsches and stuff. Like
he's got a tracksuit.
He's gonna have a tracksuit.
Be like,
that's great.
Oh my God.
That's it. I think we're done, honestly. All right, that's it. We had so much fun recording this episode. So definitely check out our social media this week. We're going to be putting up a few things here, like the can art from our beers. It's pretty good this week. Be sure to join Patreon so you can get your beers in the lot, Blackhawk Helicopter. If you're a Patreon already, you can join us on Discord and listen to us record these episodes live and crack up right alongside us. Or come join the conversation/troll war that we were having with our previous guests. And as always, thank you so much for listening. We'll catch you next week.